This is Newsday from the BBC. We're going to talk now about condors, the enormous and amazing, you usually see pictures of them floating on up currents, but the giant birds with a huge wingspan in Latin America. And in Bolivia, 35 of them have died all in one go, and it's not quite clear why. Ornithologist Sebastian Herzog is scientific director at the conservation organisation Armonia. He knows a lot about the condors. He's been studying them for decades. So what's gone on?
They were found in a rural area and they were reported by local people to police authorities. Basically, they were found really close together, a total of 35 apparently. That's the latest number. About half of them males, half of them females. You don't find 35 dead condors on the ground anywhere usually. So there have been similar cases before in other countries, in Argentina especially. So the first basically hypothesis was that these were most likely poisoned in one way or another.
And poisoned, therefore, by who, if that's the case? Is this a
Yes.
is this a matter of farmers thinking that the condors threaten their stock somehow?
Well, we don't know yet if the condors were actually the target species that the farmers wanted to poison. There was also found a goat carcass. And what's been happening in other countries, especially Argentina, that cattle ranchers, farmers, they put out a carcass, basically lace that in poison to not just kill condors, but also wild cats like pumas and other predators of cattle or of livestock in general. So we don't know yet if that goat that was out there and apparently poisoned was actually put out there to actually kill condors or other species. There were also 3 dogs found nearby, also poisoned. So we don't really know yet if the condors were the targets.
They have this immense wingspans, kind of, sort of 3 meters up. They're just absolutely majestic things. But how many is 35? Are we talking about a family group? Are we talking about the entire population in a large area?
They're not family groups. Basically, condors, as you said, have a huge wingspan. They're one of the largest birds around that actually can fly. And they have huge ranges. They can fly a few hundred kilometers in a few hours, right? So when you have a carcass somewhere, that tends to attract 20, 30, 40, 50, or even more individual condors. And they're not family groups. They're all basically birds out there looking for food. The Bolivian population is estimated at somewhere around 800 to 1,000 birds. So we're talking easily about 4% of the Bolivian population. The global population of the condor, which is basically distributed from the Andes, northern Andes, Colombia, border to Venezuela, all the way down to southern Chile and Argentina, the global population is estimated at 6,500 to 7,000 birds. So this is 0.5% of the global population that was killed there.
That's remarkable. And are they predators? Because I thought that they were sort of scavengers. So basically they just waited for something to die. So it's not like these giant things are carrying off calves or things like that.
No, they're scavengers. Their talons, their feet, they're anatomically different from the feet of eagles and falcons and hawks and these species, right? So they don't hunt actively. So they need carcasses, and that's how, most of them survive and feed.
What sort of reaction has there been to the killings? Because they're surely a very symbolic animal.
Yeah, it's Bolivia's national bird. And there's been outcry in social media. That's where actually was, first came out in social media. All the major newspapers and other media outlets have covered the story so far. The Ministry of Environment has sent a team of experts out there that work together with the local authorities to figure out what happened. There's been lots of reactions from all sorts of, politicians down to biologists and NGOs that work in conservation. So it's a big deal right now in Bolivia.
It sounds like a case of mistaken identity. What could happen to the perpetrators? Are there wildlife laws that mean that farmers could be prosecuted?
I think there are chances of catching the person or the people. I'm a biologist. I'm not a lawyer. But what I've read in the news is that they can get up to 5 years in prison for this.
Condors, case of mistaken identity, 35 of them, killed in one